हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल। अगर आपका सिविल स्कोर नहीं है, क्या आप लोन ले सकते हो? बैंक आपका सिर्फ क्रेडिट स्कोर नहीं, बल्कि आपका मोबाइल डेटा, यूपीआई ट्रांजैक्शंस और ऑनलाइन बिहेवियर भी चेक करते हैं। इस वीडियो में मैं आपको एक्सप्लेन करूंगी एक पावरफुल कॉन्सेप्ट विच इज ऑल्टरनेटिव डेटा एंड क्रेडिट रिस्क, जो फ्यूचर ऑफ लेंडिंग है। लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड। So today financial institutions are not just relying on traditional credit data like CIBIL score, they are increasingly using something called as alternative data across the entire credit journey, from finding customers to managing their accounts. So what exactly is the alternative data? It includes things like mobile usage, utility bill payments, online transactions, social behavior and more. And this data helps lender at multiple stages, finding the new customers and marketing the products, checking eligibility before applying, approving loans underwriting, monitoring customers after giving loans, and even during the collections. So the question comes up, why this is important? This is because many people don't have a proper credit history, and we call them thin file or no file customers. Alternative data helps lenders understand these people better and give them a fair chance of getting the credit. And there are some big advantages as well. First is better understanding of the customers. Higher loan approvals, lower chances of default after thorough understanding, ability to serve new and undeserved markets, improved customer retention. But it's not all perfect. There are risks too, apart from the advantages. Alternative data can sometimes introduce the bias. This means certain groups like women or minorities might be unfairly treated based on our patterns in the data. And instead of reducing the inequality, it can actually increase the discrimination if not used carefully. So, alternative data is a powerful tool that can improve the financial inclusion, but it must be used responsibly to avoid unfair outcomes. Now, let's talk about how companies are actually using the alternative data in the real world. Today, traditional banks and new fintech companies are working together more than ever. But why? This is because competition is increasing and everyone wants to make better credit decisions. Big banks are not just depending on old methods anymore. They are building their own data and analytics capabilities, partnering with the fintech startups and using advanced technology to make the smarter decisions. At the same time, fintech companies bring innovation, speed, and new type of data. So this collaboration becomes very powerful. And what's the result of all this? Financial institutions are now able to create new types of products. For example, credit builder products. These products are specifically designed for people who don't have a credit history or have a very limited credit data. And using this alternative data, lenders can help these customers by start building their credit profile, improving their credit score over time, and get access to bigger loans in the future. So overall collaboration plus the alternative data means better innovation, better products, and more financial inclusion. Now let's understand how new business models and innovative products are changing the credit scoring industry, especially with the help of the alternative data. There are multiple ways companies are using this. Credit bureaus are evolving. Earlier, credit bureaus only used traditional data like loan history. Now they are also adding alternative data like electricity, utility bill payments, rent payments, business trade, etc. Some bureaus even allow customers to share their own data to improve their credit score. This means more people can now enter the credit system. Banks are partnering with alternative scoring companies. So here the banks have strong systems and customer base, but they don't always have access to all types of data. So they collaborate with alternative data companies who collect unique data sources, use advanced analytics. These partnerships help banks make better and more accurate credit decisions. Third is the credit bureau plus fintech, which is the powerful combination. Fintech companies have access to modern data like app usage, transactions, and digital behavior. When they partner with credit bureaus, traditional credit data plus alternative data gets combined. This creates stronger credit models and helps lenders evaluate more people, especially those without the credit history. Fourth is the open banking and open finance, which are growing. With open frameworks, data can be shared with customer consent across the banks, financial institutions, and other platforms. This helps in better credit assessment, including small borrowers, freelancers, and gig workers. Fifth is tech companies are entering lending. Companies companies like e-commerce or agri-tech platforms always have a lot of user data. They use this data to understand the customer behavior, give customized credit offers, so credit decisions become personalized and data driven. Big companies are building their own solutions. So some large players like telecom companies or e-commerce platforms are creating their own credit scoring models using the data they already have, and they continuously improve these models over time to stay ahead in the market. Seventh is the new credit building products which are coming up. Innovative products are being launched to help people improve their credit score. For example, reporting regular payments like rent or bills. Tools that reward good financial behavior. This helps people build a strong credit profile even if they are starting. So, all these innovations are making credit scoring more inclusive, accurate, and future ready, especially for people who were earlier ignored by the traditional system. So, categorize data sources into distinct domains to understand how these can be helpful in the credit evaluations. So, let's talk about that. So, first is the consumer financial behavior. And in this, the examples of the alternative data can be the credit or debit card, banks and bank account records, remittances, buy now pay later data. So the credit debit account cards and everything means that it tells us the financial transactions and the patterns. Remittances indicate stable income, useful for verifying income for those with irregular earnings. And BNPL data talks about the repayment history, credit use, and transaction frequency. There can be digital wallet from this we can have the data from the platforms like the PayPal revealing the payments and the transfers. Text messages, analysis of the patterns including frequency of the financial transactions or bills related messages. Telco data, billing history, call patterns, usage data, SIM card age, top up habits, etc. can be determined from the telco data. Next can be the consumer lifestyle and habits. Here we can determine the app use, which offers insights into the financial responsibility, lifestyle, and interest through apps and usage patterns. Biometric data. Biometric data offer insights into behavior and lifestyle from wearable and IoT devices. Travel data. It provides insight into income level, lifestyle, and spending habits through travel details. Geolocation. Geolocation. It uncovers the routines and movements, potential biases from associations with socioeconomic statuses. Social media insights. It offers insights into lifestyle, interest, connections, keeping in mind the privacy concerns. Third can be the housing and the utility management. For example, the rental history. It assesses the reliability in making consistent and timely payments. Utility pay. Payments of the electricity, water, gas bills. Now, what should regulators and policymakers do to properly use the alternative data in the credit scoring? So, alternative data is powerful, but without proper control, it can also create the serious risk. So, here we will now discuss some recommendations. So first is the strong laws and regulations are a must. So first and important, we need proper rules and regulations. Right now, different countries are at different stages, and there is no one fixed rule that works for everyone. But regulators should ensure data is used safely and responsibly, customer privacy is protected, strong cybersecurity systems are in place. For example, if a company is using your mobile data or transaction history, there should be clear rules on what data they can use, how they store it, and how they protect it. So the goal is use data for better decisions but without harming the customers. Second, create a blacklist of data that cannot be used, and this is interesting and important. Not all data should be allowed in credit scoring. Why? Because some data can lead to privacy violations, unfair discrimination. So regulators should create a blacklist, meaning a list of data types that are strictly not allowed in the credit models. For example, personal sensitive information, data that can create bias against certain groups. This ensures fair lending, no discrimination, equal opportunity for all the borrowers. Third is encourage testing through sandboxes and innovation platforms. But here is the challenge. Alternative data is still new and we don't always know which data actually works well and which data creates risk. So regulators should allow control testing environments called regulatory sandboxes. Regulatory sandboxes. In this, companies can test new models, use alternative data safely without affecting real customers at large scale. To fully use the power of alternative data, we need a balance between the innovation and protection. Innovation means new data, new models, and protection means privacy, fairness, and security. And if this is done correctly, alternative data can increase the financial inclusion. But if misused, it can create bias and privacy issues. Now, fourth is use secure systems where customers give permission for data sharing. First, data should never be used without the customer's permission. Regulators should promote systems where customers know what data is being shared, customers give clear consent, and data sharing is safe and secure. So, this is called consumer permission data sharing. For example, open banking frameworks, secure data sharing platforms. The goal is make data sharing easy, safe, and transparent for both companies and customers. Promote gender equality in credit scoring. Many women don't have a credit history or have a very limited credit data. So policymakers and companies should design models that are more inclusive. How can they do this? Use gender-based data in safe and anonymous way. Understand different financial behaviors and create products specifically designed for women. Why is this needed? Because women are more likely to be credit invisible or thin file customers. So better data usage can improve credit access for women and reduce inequality. Create industry rules for using alternative data. Sometimes proper laws may not exist yet. In that case, companies themselves should follow self-regulation. This means creating industry-wide regulations, following ethical practices, ensuring responsible use of data. And the idea is even if laws are not strict, companies should act responsibly and follow a risk-based approach while using the alternative data. So not all data is equal. Some data is more sensitive and risky. So lenders should follow a risk-based approach, meaning the way data is used should depend on how risky it is. Regulators should ensure that companies have proper policies for taking customer consent, collecting and storing data, correcting wrong data, managing third-party data providers, and also many companies now use machine learning and artificial intelligence. So there should be clear rules to ensure these models are fair, they don't create bias, and they are used responsibly. So the conclusion is to be truly benefit from the alternative data, we need customer trust through the obviously through consent and security, fairness, no bias, more inclusion, responsibility, ethical and regulated usage. And if this is done right, alternative data can expand the credit access, empower women and undeserved groups, and make lending smarter and safer. But if done wrong, it can violate the privacy, increase the discrimination, and create the trust issues. Policy consideration. What needs to be done to increase the availability and proper use of the alternative data in credit scoring? Because remember, if data is not generated properly, it cannot be used effectively. And so here are the key points explained in a very simple way. First is promote digitization of economic activities. First, government should encourage people and businesses to go digital, and this means more digital payments, more online transactions, less cash-based economy. They can do this by giving financial incentives like cashback, subsidies, non-financial support like awareness programs. Also, it is very important to ensure everyone has access to internet. People have access to smartphones or digital devices. Why is this important? Because digital activity creates data, and data helps in credit assessment. Second, digitize government data and make it accessible. Governments already have a lot of valuable data such as company registration data, vehicle registration data, tax records, court records, collateral records. But if the data is not digital or accessible, it cannot be used. So government should digitize all their services, make data easily accessible with proper safeguards. This data can become a powerful source of alternative data for lenders. Third, build strong digital infrastructure. For alternative data to work properly, strong infrastructure is required, and this includes digital identity systems like Aadhaar, payment systems like UPI, data sharing systems. Government should invest in building and improving these systems. Why? Because these systems generate reliable data, make data sharing easier, improve overall credit assessment. Fourth, improve digital literacy to awareness. Many people still don't understand how their data is used, how digital systems work. So policymakers should focus on educating people about digital tools, creating awareness about data usage. This helps people use digital services confidently, give informed consent, and avoid misuse of their data. Fifth is promote cross-border data sharing. Today, people and businesses operate across countries. For example, migrant workers, international businesses, MSMEs working globally. In such cases, credit assessment becomes difficult. So policymakers allow safe cross-border data sharing, collaborate with other countries. And this helps lenders assess the credit worthiness even across borders and support global businesses and individuals. So in a summary, let's discuss. To unlock the power of the alternative data, government needs to focus on digitization, meaning the more data generation, accessibility, data should be usable, infrastructure, strong digital systems, awareness, people should understand data usage, collaboration, even across the countries. Only then can alternative data truly improve the credit access, support the small business, and bring financial inclusion at large scale. So, अगर आपको ये वीडियो यूजफुल लगा हो तो प्लीज लाइक जरूर करें एंड ऐसे ही डिटेल कंटेंट के लिए चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें। यहाँ आपको क्रेडिट रिस्क, फिनटेक और पाइथन रिलेटेड सब कुछ मिलेगा। एंड अगर आप इंटरव्यू प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हैं तो कमेंट में इंटरव्यू लिखे, मैं उसके लिए भी डेडिकेटेड कंटेंट जो है आगे जाके डिस्कस करेंगे। एंड मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंटली हमारे स्कोर कार्ड मॉडलिंग का सीरीज जो चल रहा है वो आगे कंटिन्यू होगा, जिसमें हम आगे फीचर इंजीनियरिंग, WAE, IV ये सब हम समझेंगे एंड दैट टू इन पाइथन. And this alternative data and credit risk is very important from theoretical point of understanding, so that we can know from where the data is coming and how exactly the data should be used with proper understanding and guidelines. So let's meet you in the next video. Till then, thank you.